our industry poses a serious threat in effectively bringing on the next pandemic.
Fox Business had on the new CEO of Smithfield Foods, Dennis Organ. Only problem, it wasn't the new CEO of Smithfield Foods. It was, in fact, an animal rights activist posing as the new CEO of Smithfield Foods. Now, this is going to be Matt Johnson of Direct Action Everywhere. This is a California-based animal rights group posing as the CEO of Smithfield Foods. This was a 6-minute interview. I'm not going to play the entire 6 minutes. That would be insane, but I'll link to it below the video in the description box under sources on YouTube. You can check it out. But I will play a clip here for you to show you what he had to say. And I'm also going to get into how they fooled Fox Business and also what this group is fighting for. Watch.
Another group pushing to get the vaccine early, food workers. Plants across the U.S. saw major outbreaks early in the pandemic. Joining me right now is the CEO of Smithfield Foods, Dennis Organ. Dennis, it's great to have you this morning. Thanks very much for joining us.
And if I may add quickly, as the new CEO and president of Smithfield, I'm personally promised that we're going to do better. And the first change under my leadership is transparency and at times brutal honesty. And the truth is that our industry, in addition to the outbreaks that are happening at our plants, our industry poses a serious threat in effectively bringing on the next pandemic with CDC data showing that 3 or 4 infectious diseases come from animals, and the conditions inside of our farms can sometimes be petri dishes for new diseases. Hog farming also causes immense harm to our air and waterways.
Well, Dennis, that's what I want to ask you about.
So there you have Matt Johnson posing as the CEO of Smithfield Foods, Dennis Organ, discussing the dangers of hog farming. And of course, he's exactly right. It's just hilarious that he was able to fool Fox Business. Now, this is apparently how he was able to do it. As he says here, Smithfield has this new CEO that comes in, and if you're not paying attention, I can pass for him, he said, referring to his likeness to Organ. I'll get to that in a second. And we were thinking with the holidays, you might get lucky with the fill-in staff who aren't as savvy with vetting and that sort of thing. So basically, they used fake contact information, and because Matt Johnson looks similar to the CEO, so Matt Johnson, activist, Dennis Organ. I mean, there's definitely a likeness there. Matt Johnson, Dennis Organ. So because he's a new CEO, I guess they were able to use that to their advantage as well. And during the holidays, as he said, holiday staff likely a little less savvy than the normal staff is. So there you go. Incredible. Now, a little more information on Smithfield and their impact. So far, more than 3,200 Smithfield workers have contracted COVID-19 and 8 have died, according to data compiled by the Food and Environmental Reporting Network. Industry-wide, more than 77,000 people working in meatpacking, food processing, and farming in the U.S. have tested positive for the virus, and nearly 350 have died, according to Fern. And a little more on what this activist group, Direct Action Everywhere, is fighting for. Johnson told Vice News that the Fox Business hoax on Wednesday was a communication strategy to further the group's goals, but that ultimately it has to be a political solution. Currently, Direct Action Everywhere is calling for California officials to issue a moratorium on construction or expansion of new factory farms and slaughterhouses in the state. So you see here Direct Action Everywhere fighting for animal rights and using data and facts to push this information out there. And of course, you know, a hoax or two to get the message out. Of course, I'm not going to go over it, but of course, Smithfield Foods was not happy. They responded saying, you know, the statements were absolutely false or fake, whatever. Of course they're going to say that. The reality is this is a serious issue. Factory farming is one of the greatest contributors to the climate crisis. And of course, as he discussed as well, as the activist discussed, becomes a serious issue when we're talking about new viruses. Often they come from animals, come from these tight quarters, come from the mixing of animals as well in the same place. So this not only is unsafe for the animals themselves, it also poses a serious risk to humans and the rest of the planet.